Over 40 years after the war, from a poor and backward country, Vietnam has achieved many achievements in socio-economic fields. The position of Vietnam in the international arena has been constantly improved and expanded. A peaceful, stable, and developed Vietnam like today is mostly built on the noble and sacred sacrifices of many generations of ancestors, heroic Vietnamese mothers, war invalids, and martyrs throughout this loving S-shaped country. Their blood and youth have brilliantly colored the national flag, bringing the independence and freedom for the country. The images of gentle mothers who devoted their most loved ones to the fatherland have become immortal songs of silent, yet extremely great sacrifices. They are just simple and rustic mothers, but have become legendary. The war has gone away more than 40 years after the country was united. Everywhere in the country, it can be seen a miracle revival against the loss and grief that the whole nation has experienced. Living in peace, we could hardly understand the silent but tremendous sacrifices of mothers at that time. Behind their quiet life today, there's still the smoldering longing deep in their heart for their husband and children. Those are mothers who once sent off their children one after another to the battlefields. Nevertheless, when peace came back to the country, no one was alive to return home. Nothing can compensate for the loss and sacrifice of these mothers. After the nation has been united to acknowledge the enormous contribution and sacrifice of these mothers, the party and the state awarded the noble title for Vietnamese heroic mother to more than 123,000 mothers. As of 2015, Quang Nam province has the largest number of Vietnamese heroic mothers in the country, with more than 14,000 mothers, among whom Mother Nguyễn Thị Thứ is the most typical Vietnamese heroic mother of the province and the whole country. Mother Nguyễn Thị Thứ lived in Thanh Quýt 2 village, Điện Thắng Trung commune, Điện Bàn town. She has 9 sons, 1 son-in-law and 2 grandchildren who died in both wars against the French and the US during nearly 30 years. She passed away at 1:40 a.m. on December the 10th, 2010 at the age of 106 and was buried at the cemetery for martyrs in Điện Bàn town. She went to another world to see her children. There she would embrace the children in her arms after years of longing for them. The image of a mother sitting in front of 9 bowls of rice and 9 incense sticks has become the immortal monument of the nation. She is of Vietnam's legendary heroic mother. The third boy, my next younger brother, died right on the day of the liberation of Saigon, when he, his wife and children were living there. He was killed when Saigon was being liberated. I hid his death from my mom until much later, because if I let her know, she might be shocked to death. In 2004, the leaders of the Voice of Vietnam proposed an idea of constructing a monument to pay tribute to the merits of Vietnamese heroic mothers, which resembles Mother Nguyễn Thị Thứ. The monument groundbreaking ceremony was held in Tam Kỳ City, Quang Nam Province on July the 27, 2004 in a very solemn and emotional atmosphere. Also in 2004, VOV and Vietnam Women's Union, in collaboration with Quang Nam Provincial People's Committee, initiated budget and fundraising campaigns for the monument construction. The campaigns have received positive response from a wide range of people in and outside the country. After many rounds of workshops, the Council of Artworks and Monuments of Vietnam's Heroic Mother adopts the prototype of Vietnam's Heroic Mother Nguyễn Thị Thứ and unanimously agreed to choose sculptor Đinh Gia Thắng and architect Nguyễn Luận to design the monument.
Cảm nhận được
The initiative for the construction of Vietnam's heroic mother statue that resembles Mother Thứ is one of the activities that I am most interested in. I could feel the kindness and gentleness whenever I hold her hands. When holding her hands, we can feel that she is infusing into us a special emotion, an inexpressible feeling. I hold her hands and I could feel how much the hardship and grief she has been suffering when her children had lost their lives. I hold her hands and I could feel such feelings to figure out an image of a Vietnamese mother, a heroic mother who had always thought about the great things for the country. It is the independence and freedom for the fatherland. With enthusiasm, intelligence, and affection throughout the country, after nearly 7 years of construction, the monument complex of the Vietnam's heroic mother was completed on the occasion of the 40th anniversary of the liberation of Quang Nam Province, March the 24th, 1975, March the 24th, 2015. Returning to the land where we fought against the enemies after 40 years, I could see many changes. Visiting the monument of the Vietnamese heroic mother here today, I feel very grateful to the mothers who gave birth to children who defended the country. The monument of the Vietnamese heroic mother is located on an area of nearly 24 hectares. It is created from more than 3,000 cubic meters of monolithic granite in a traditional Asian architectural style. In front of the monument are 8 pillars as the gate of the monument. These 8 pillars depict the images of Vietnamese heroic mothers from the 3 regions of the country and the traditional cultural characteristics of the northern, central, and southern regions of Vietnam. Behind the 8 pillars is the entrance to the main monument. 2 temporary gardens on both corridors of the entrance with stone pillars, grassland, trees, stone bridges, pond banks, resting huts, and 10 white stone slabs which are taken from other provinces. On each white stone, songs and poems written by famous poets and artists across the country are inscribed to express the love for the mothers, making visitors feel deeply moved when they think of their own mothers and the country's heroic mothers. Opposite to the mother statue and in the front gate square are 2 rounds of trees dedicated by 63 provinces and cities and from ministries and central branches. Especially there are 4 rubber trees planted by the leaders of the party and state, showcasing their gratitude to Vietnamese heroic mothers. Passing under the 2 rounds of trees and going along the entrance through the 8 pillars as a gate, we reach the main ceremonial square. Proceeding to this ceremonial square through the staircases, visitors can see mother statues in the most direct way. The entire monument is in the shape of a small mountain protruding in the middle and inclining at sides. At the center of the monument is the bust of the mother. The 2 sides of the cliff are the faces of her children embraced in her arms. The mother embracing and protecting their children in her arms, suggesting an image of a united and peaceful country where loyal descendants from all the corners of the country gather around their mother. The fatherland is always affectionate to her. Especially inside the monument is a displaying space of documents, photos, and other materials relating to Vietnamese heroic mother with a total area of 1,800 square meters. This is the place recording the names of over 120,000 Vietnamese heroic mothers of the whole country and keep the documentary images of Vietnamese heroic mothers and typical Vietnamese women through the 2 wars against the French and the American. Next to these images and photos are tools and objects that were once attached to the women and other Vietnamese heroic mothers. To the right of the monument is located the Provincial Martyrs Cemetery with a total area of about 8 hectares, with the capacity to bury about 3,000 tombs of martyrs. The cemetery is designed based on the idea that the wars have separated mothers and children when they were alive, but they would come together at one place after they has fallen. The complex of Vietnam's heroic mother is a national-level project having historical, cultural, and artistic meanings. This is the place of remembrance and honor of over 120,000 Vietnamese heroic mothers across the country, and a dread dress to educate revolutionary tradition for all generations in and outside the province.
Nam Á.
Passing through the wars, it can be said that today we can reaffirm that Quang Nam is the homeland to the most martyrs and also home to the most Vietnamese heroic mothers in the country. Such figures show that the sacrifice of the Quang people in general and Quang Nam land in particular is extremely huge. And it is also very proud that Quang Nam today is chosen as a place to erect the statue of Vietnamese heroic mother, resembling Mother Nguyễn Thị Thứ. I think this is a correct and meaningful policy. Since the statue of Vietnam's heroic mother is erected, I'd assume that people not only in our country but also in the world will understand more about the wars to defend our country. In Vietnam, women directly involved themselves in every wars. They gave birth to heroes. They raised their children to become heroes, and they themselves are heroes too. Such a miracle. So Vietnamese mothers, especially Vietnamese heroic mothers, are the icon and symbol of the soul of the country, of the spirit of the people, and of the motherland. Therefore, the construction of the statue of the Vietnamese heroic mother here is aimed at upholding the soul for the country, building a cultural foundation. It is not a normal story about a statue. All is in this concept. More than 40 years after the liberation day of the country, Vietnam has overcome numerous difficulties and become confident to move forward and can walk abreast with powerful countries in all 5 continents. The most valuable thing we have today is the independence, autonomy, and peace. Looking back at the journey that we have gone through, generations of descendants could never forget the great merits and enormous sacrifices of the war invalids and martyrs and heroic mothers. Most of today's Vietnam's heroic mothers are at their great age, and in 5 or 10 years' time, they will set out upon their journey into eternity. For such reasons, the monument is a place to store the images and relics of the mothers so that the next generation of children and grandchildren would know that we once had such great and legendary mothers. The success of the monument is that it is able to offer the noble and sacred feelings of today's generation to the motherland so that we are able to realize that we need to live in a better way and worthily with the history of the country.